Alright, today I'm going to teach you how to create an overlay like this without the use of any software like Photoshop or having to download any programs. Fiverr just launched a Twitch store where you can purchase graphic designs from creators. Whether you need professional overlays, logos, or panels, you can browse through the catalog to get what you need for your streams. Get one today by clicking the link in the description. Alright, today we're going to learn about creating overlays. If you don't have any professional software like Photoshop or Illustrator, that's fine. I'm going to show you how you can get the same exact results using these tools and tips. If you've never done any digital graphic designing, worry not. I'll try to go as slow as possible and be as detailed as I can. Just try to follow along and do the steps that I do, and if you're stuck on something, just go back and watch that part again. First, what you want to do is head over to this website, photop.com. Photop is an advanced image editor that you can use on your browser. At first glance, you will notice that it looks almost like Photoshop. So if you already have experience with that, you can use the same tools and tricks on this platform. Not only that, but the amazing part about it is that you can load and export Photoshop files anytime you please. So you're gonna see this X a lot. That's because I'm in full screen mode. So if I press F11, I'm gonna make it into full screen. Okay, so start by going to File and then click New. You could also use the shortcut command, Alt-Control-N. Now you're gonna have a lot of templates. What we're gonna do first is create the name of the project. So we're just gonna call it overlay, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Just make sure that the width is 1920 and your height is 1080. We're gonna be making our overlay in 1080p basically for our streams. So click create. Now if you're like me, you're gonna be staring at this portion for a while, and that's because I like to get creative and think about what I want to do. And honestly, you could create whatever you want. What I like to do is create a template in my mind and just have an idea of what I want my overlay and streams to look like. So think about what game you're playing and see how an overlay for the stream will look for that. I mean, just use reference from other streamers if you want to. Alright, so use a theme that you prefer. You could base it on any color you want. So what you want to start off by doing first is opening and placing. What you can do is throw down a background. It could be anything. If you're gonna follow along and do exactly what I do, I'll post all the images, files, anything like that. So I'm gonna use this wallpaper I created right here, okay? This wallpaper is 1920 by 1080. Alright, first thing I want to do is create a rectangle for my game. And by doing that, all I have to do is just go down to this tool right here. And then you're gonna see this tool called rectangle. You just click that, and then on the right side, let me just change my music first. And on the right side on the top, you're gonna see where it says free. Change that to fixed ratio because we want it 16 by 9. So let's go with the width of 1920 and then the height of 1080. So no matter how you move it, it's always gonna be in that fixed dimension. Pretty cool, huh? If you didn't have it set to a fixed ratio, the square, the rectangle, whatever you're using is gonna be, it's gonna look like that basically. And yeah, unless you play a game that's like that, then be my guest. Let's delete these. All right, once you have your rectangle, what I like to do is I like to drag it to the top left corner, and automatically you're gonna have it snap into place so you know it fits perfectly. Watch, if I slowly inch my cursor there, you can see it snap into place. What I like to do next is go to the move tool. You can also press V on your keyboard if you like. And now you have a free transform. And what you can do next is hold shift on your keyboard. And then all you gotta do is just drag the corners, and you can freely make this as big as you want. So just have an idea of how big you want your game to be. Leave some space open for other things, and then we'll just work from there. If you ever need to make any changes later, you can do that. So generally I like to make it like this big. Since you're already in transform mode, hold shift on your keyboard and you can move it with your arrow keys like this, okay? If you're not holding shift, it moves it by 1 pixel, I believe. So holding shift moves it by like 5 pixels. Pretty cool. So this is an idea of how to keep everything in the centered. So as you snapped it to the corner before, what I like to do is move down by 2 while holding shift. So 1, 2, and then to the right twice while holding shift, 1, 2. So this is gonna be your game border. You're gonna notice that the background is red or whatever color your rectangle tool is. You can change that. What I like to do is go back to the rectangle, see the fill option. Let's make that transparent by clicking the fill layer and then going to fill type and clicking none. I like to add a border around it, so just go to the stroke area, and it's automatically defaulted to fill type none, so just pick any color. Just pick red, for example. You could change that later, it doesn't matter. If you like to get fancy, I mean, you could add like some corners around it. So for example, like this, and then let me move this around so you can see. So if you can see, let me zoom in. You can see that the corners are like edged off. If you like that, be my guest, dude. You can make it look like that, but I don't know. It's just me. I don't like doing that. So let me go back to it and just change it to meter, whoever knows. I don't know, dude. Honestly, I don't even know any of these terminologies for like digital, like for Photoshop terms, dude. I just learned myself, honestly. It's so funny. All right. Okay, so now we have our game box, okay? We have our game box, and what we want to do next is make our webcam. If you don't use a webcam, you can make a box for anything. I like having boxes for chat, boxes for donations, but specifically for this, we're gonna use a box for a webcam, just assuming that you use one. So in my layers panel right here, what you can do is hold Control on your keyboard and press J, and you can make a copy of that exact layer. Another way you can do it is just by right-clicking it and then duplicating layer. Same thing. Control J is a faster shortcut. I just been used to that. So now that we have our second copy, what I'm gonna do is go back to my move tool. I could press V on my keyboard, or I could just press it in the top left right here. And I'm gonna move this and let it snap to the right side, like that, like what we did before, basically. Bloop. And now, same thing we did before. I'm gonna hold Shift and go to the left twice, and then hold Shift and go up twice. Perfect. So you can see in this area, I want to keep it like, I give it like that general consensus of like how much space is on the edges compared to where everything else is. So where is it? This one right here, right? Bloop. Go back to our move tool by holding V, and then we're gonna have the transform controls checked again, and then I'm gonna hold Shift, and then on the top left corner this time, I'm gonna move this around just so I can freely change this while keeping the fixed ratio. And you don't want your webcam too big. I mean, if you care about people seeing you, dude, just make your webcam like this big. All you need is no, I'm just kidding. All right, so just have your webcam like this big. I mean, that's pretty normal for a webcam size, right? You don't have to put your webcam there. You could put your webcam. You could put your webcam here. You could put your webcam here. Wherever you want, dude. Wherever you want. Whatever you're feeling. It's up to you. But I'm just gonna have it right here. I want to add an image, you know, give this background some more depth, some character, make it look alive. To do that, I'm just gonna add like some pictures of whatever you prefer. You know, you're into anime, dude. Let me show you a picture here. You like anime, dude? Here's a little anime girl. We'll put her right here on the right side. Since we have like this full empty area, if you don't want to use a chat, just throw like an image over it. Anything you want, anything you're feeling, you know? Be as creative as possible. So just for example, I'm just gonna use this girl. I believe that's Rem from ReZero. Just put her right there for now. And what I like to do next is change the color of the borders. So to do that, all you gotta do is just right click and then go to blending options. I believe you can also double click. Nope, never mind. Wait. Oh, you can. Okay. So if you double click the name, you could rename it to whatever you want. You know, if you're not lazy like I am, you can rename this to webcam, or for this shape, you can rename this to game box. Anything you want. Me, I usually don't name my layers, and then I always forget like which is which. And yeah, you don't want to do that. So I would recommend naming everything. So let's go with the game box, right? Let's right click that and go to blending options. You can add a gradient if you want to. That's too fancy for me. So we're just gonna keep it like normal. Let's add a color overlay right here for layer styles. And let's change that color to white. I feel like white would be nice. Click OK. So we're gonna do the same thing for the webcam. Add a color overlay and make it white. So let's look at it now. So you're gonna see that the game box and the webcam kind of blends in with the background, right? We can't really distinguish the game box and webcam from the background. How are we gonna see the games? What we can do is add a shadow effect by going back into our blending option. So let's go back to game box real quick. Let's add a drop shadow, right? What I like to do is make the shadow go from the bottom right. So you can change the angle to anywhere you please. Making it go to the bottom right is an angle of 125. Let me do that. So you're gonna see it's gonna point that way. So the sun is like coming this way, right? And then the shadow is gonna be reflecting over here. I usually keep the opacity at like 50%. If you're in blend mode, it might automatically be set to multiply, so just make sure this is set to normal. The distance I like to keep it is at 5. Spread, you could keep it at 10 if you want, and then size is at 5. Click OK, and then let's take a look at it again. You can see that it now gives it a more depth of field. It looks 3D and it just stands out a lot more. You can see like the different layers coming together from the game box compared to the backdrop, you know, the wallpaper in the background. I'm gonna do the same thing with the webcam. If you're feeling lazy like me, right click layer styles. You could right click your game box, layer styles, and copy. Go to your webcam box, right click, layer style, paste. So you can copy the blending option from one layer and paste it to another layer. You can do that if you're lazy, but it's gonna copy every single one of those blending options that you have. So we only had 2, which is color overlay and drop shadow. So it's gonna just transfer that over to the other one and overwrite your previous ones. If you're using the same type of like layer styles for the same type of rectangles, that's the only time I would recommend doing that. You see how this webcam right here, you can see the box in the background from this. All we have to do to fix that is this. What I'm gonna do is go to my webcam area, right? Press W on my keyboard, or you could go to this section right here. It's the fourth tool. Just click that and then switch to your magic wand and just click right here. You're gonna have like a selection. Zoom in by holding control and plus. Another thing you can do is hold Alt and then use your scroll wheel. Pretty cool. All right, go here. And I'm just gonna zoom in like that. Oops. Oh, we already done goofed. And my song's over. I've been listening to like the same song this whole time I've been working on this tutorial. Now that we have this area selected, right? What we're gonna do is delete the game border, the excess part of the game border that we don't need. So to do that, take off the blending options by going to effects. If you don't see that, just click this arrow right here. If you take off the effects, it's gonna remove all the blending options that we used previously. I'm just gonna take it off temporarily because I'm gonna put it on once I delete that excess amount. So let's remove the effects real quick. While our layer is still selected, I mean, if you lose it, just go back to your magic wand tool. Make sure you're in your webcam. You have your webcam selected and click in. If you're not in the webcam layer and you try to select it, say for example, I'm in my game box and I try to select it, you're gonna see that it's only gonna select whatever is available in that layer, which is the game box. So you're gonna see it's just trying to select everything on the outside of that game box. If I click inside the game box, it's gonna select inside the game box. So just make sure you have your highlighted on your webcam layer and you select the inside of it. All right, so going back, you could hold a spacebar on your keyboard, and then you get this mouse, this hand tool, which you can like move around if you're zoomed in. So I like to hold my spacebar and just like move a mouse if I need to get like a better view or something. Okay, so we selected our webcam box, and then I'm gonna go back to my game box, right? The layer right here, because I want to delete the inside of that. What I'm gonna do is right click and rasterize the layer right here. Now I can delete it. If I didn't rasterize it and I try to delete it, it's gonna say layer is not editable. So we're gonna rasterize and then delete. So now you can see this area is empty. If there's anything that you see like right there, it kind of bothers me too. We're just gonna delete that as well. We're gonna use our selection tool, which is right under our move tool. So the second one, you could also press M on your keyboard And then you could just like make any shape you want. I don't like the ellipse one. Change it to rectangle select. It's easier to like move around like that. So we're gonna select the excess amount like right there. And then we're gonna see some other stuff. You know, if you get bothered, like blah, delete that. See something right here? Bah, delete that too. Get out of here. Okay. Now, remember when we copied the blending options previously? Even if you didn't, you could just steal it from your webcam and just add it to the game box. No big deal. So now you just go wapa. Or if you never removed it in the first place, it doesn't matter because you could just add it back on. Simple, dude. Simple stuff. You know what I mean, dude? So go to your wallpaper, right? If your wallpaper is not already rasterized, that means that you can't edit it at all. If I try to erase, like use an eraser to like, you know, delete some sections, it's gonna detect that it's a smart object and it must be rasterized first. So same process you did before, right click and rasterize the layer. And now if I try to erase stuff, you can see I could go to town. Use my selection tool, press it by pressing M, make sure I have the rectangle selected, and I just want to freely trace where my game border is by going like right here and just retracing that game border and just deleting. You could also just zoom in if you're having trouble. Just zoom in all the way. As long as you're in your selection tool for your rectangle, you can keep expanding it. You're not gonna lose where you last initially put your cursor. So just draw that box and just make sure it's within the border like this. As long as it's not like, you see how it's not like past this, you want to make sure as long as it's like on top of it or touching it or inside of it. So this much is like fine. Just got to make sure I'm in my wallpaper layer and just press delete on my keyboard. If you're going to see that it's all white, that's just because under the bottom of our wallpaper layer is a white background. We just unlock that just by clicking this and then clicking that position tool and just delete that layer by pressing delete or delete layer like that. The checkered box that you see right here just means that that portion is transparent. So we're gonna do the same thing with our webcam. We're gonna delete this section right here and just select the inside of your webcam with your magic wand. You can do that, or you can select it and make a box yourself. It's all the same. Just do that until you have an empty transparent area. If it's still selected like this, for example, you can hold Control D to deselect, or just go to select and then deselect. So for example, if I'm still selected inside that layer right here, if I'm still selected in the layer, just go to select, deselect, or Control D on your keyboard. I usually do Control D, it's a lot faster. You can add like whatever you want to this next, right? You can add your name right here, you know, name tag, your gamer tag, whatever it is. To add a little bit more fancy stuff to this, I'm gonna put my gamer tag right here. So you can press T, or you can just go to the text tool right here, type tool. Just press T, it's a lot simpler. And click where you want to start your text. It doesn't matter where you click, as long as it's within the box. So give it some time to load, and then on the top left section, right? And don't worry about that yet. Just type your gamer tag. So for example, my username is Project Days. I probably spelled that wrong, honestly. Just make sure your layer for your text is all the way on the top. Move that to the top, and then zoom in to where it was. Find where your gamer tag is, and then while pressing T again, it's gonna open up this section on the bottom left. If you're inside another tool, you won't see it. So it's gonna be like, hey, why can't I edit the text, you know? So just make sure you have the type tool, or just press T. And now every time you click it, you can change it to anything you want. What I'm gonna do is make this a little bit bigger. So I wanna highlight all this. You can just highlight it by doing that. And then just change the size to whatever you feel like it until it fits, you know? Let me zoom out by holding Alt and using my scroll wheel. And then I just look to see what will fit. So I'll be like, that's pretty cool. Let's go with 40. 40 looks like the perfect number. And I'm just gonna press confirm. If you press Control on your keyboard and move around, you're gonna have like this arrow tool, and you could just move things around. If I try to click around without holding Control, it's gonna do that. It's gonna use my text tool or whatever tool I was using previously. So just make sure you're holding Control Make sure you're in the text layer, and just whatever you move with control will move that layer. So let me just move this to like, I don't know, right here is good. And now let's zoom out, Alt and scroll wheel. Let's go back, click it with our text tool, highlight that, and let's play around with some fonts. Photopea gives you access to millions and millions of fonts. When I say million, I'm talking about like hundreds. So find a font, right? You have the preview section right here. Choose whatever looks nice to you. Let me load a font here. I'm gonna give you guys a nice font. Everybody always asks me, hey Ace, what kind of font you use? Let me download it real quick. I don't even have the font downloaded. All right, I'm gonna load a font real quick. If you want to load a font, just click this button right here, and then find where you saved it. And the font I just loaded is called Distant Stroke Medium. If you want to use that font as well, I'll leave a link to where you can download it below in the description. So find Distant Stroke. Look at it. Look at it. Click it. Woo! Look at the font right now. Let me change that so it's like lowercase. And now Distant Stroke, I gotta make that even bigger. So let's change the size to 100. Oops. Change that to 100. Press a check mark. Hold Control, and just move it to where I think would fit best, like right there. All right. Let's play around. You know, we like playing with blending options. Let's right click our text layer, blending options, right? Let's choose a color. Let me introduce you guys color overlay. Click color overlay, have it checked, right? And now click the box to have it highlighted, and now you're gonna have access to the color overlay properties. Make sure blend mode is set to normal, opacity set to 100, and by default, I believe it should be white. Let's change that color to anything we want. If you click the color right here, you're gonna have a color picker tool. You can choose any color you want, you know? If I want the color to be like her dress, just click the dress. If I want it to be her hair, I click the hair. Or, if you're feeling fancy, just play around. Choose whatever color looks nice to you. I'm gonna match it with her dress, and now you're probably like, bro, I can't see your name. It's all good, just add a drop shadow. So if you click the drop shadow blending options, if you have it checked, it's gonna use what you used previously. Instead, I'm gonna change the opacity up to 75%, just so I can notice it a lot easier like this. Click OK, and let's zoom out. How does that look? Now you can read the name a little bit better. I don't like having it like out there. You know, it's not too noticeable. It's like subtle. That's what I like about it, you know? All right. Honestly, this could be done right here. If this is all you need, you could just export it right now by going to File, Export as PNG, or you could save it as a Photoshop file. I like to think of what I want my stream to consist of. So I'm gonna have things like, you know, what's that thing called? Recent events, right? If you want a recent events, I'm just gonna leave this area blank just so I can put recent events. If I want people to know what kind of music I'm listening to, I can make a box for that. If I want donations, like, you know, if you want to give recognitions to your donators, you can make a box for that. It's personal preference. You could do whatever you want. I just like to keep that blank just so I can, you know, freely change it however I want anytime. And I'll just add like a box by itself separately instead of on the overlay. So I'm going to end it off right here with this overlay. So let's save this real quick, right? What we can do is go to File on the top left. You can save it as a Photoshop file and then export it as a PNG. Export it as a PNG just so you can save transparency. And then when you save it, all you gotta do is just click save. Just make sure it retains 100% of its quality. Make sure the width and the height is according to what we originally set it as. And then just click save. If you need to look at the preview, you can see it right here. Like, wow, this is what I made, so cool. Good job, dude. Save it. And now, you should have this thing right here, which is your overlay. You're probably wondering, why is this white, dude? That's because that's transparent. And normally if you open up like photos and the photo software on your Windows 10 or whatever you're using, it'll be generally black or white, depending on what you have your setting as. So let's load this into OBS real quick. So I'll see you guys when we have OBS ready. I'm gonna throw that overlay image in my OBS. You can see like the background is black. That's because, you know, generally if you don't have anything on OBS, it's just completely pitch black. You can see we have the section for our game border as well as our webcam. Do I have my webcam on? Probably not. Here, let me add my webcam on. I was wondering, I was like, yo, why is my webcam not popping up? Bro, because I'm using OBS to record my OBS, so I can't have two sources open at the same time. All right, let's go back to recording right here. Hey, look at that. Holy crap, ignore my keyboard, I know it's dirty. And let me just put that in there. Bloop. And then let me just throw that under the overlay. Let's here, let me throw that up there. See, now it looks a lot cooler. Wowzers. We'll just throw that screenshot in there. And just, okay, so we got our game, we got our webcam, and we got, you know, the little cute girl right there, you know. And then we got our name tag right there, which you honestly can't see, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. Maybe I should have made that like blue, or make it like the shade of her maid outfit. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Change it. Go back and change it if you feel like it. For me, it's all good. Let me just add in my events. You know, like recent events. You know, that's basically it. If you have like donators or something, you know, you can make a box like right here. You can put a box right here. You have so much open spaces to do whatever you want. But yeah, I hope this helped, honestly. I know I'm really bad at explaining things. Oh my god, if I were to watch my video myself, dude, I'll probably be as confused as you guys. But hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully, if you made it to the end of the video, you were able to recreate something similar to this. And honestly, I'm just glad that this tutorial is finally over. All the links for whatever I use, like the wallpaper, the image, things like that, dimensions, properties, it's all gonna be in the description of the video. If you're still confused and you're like, this was just a waste of time, why don't I just buy an overlay for $5 and just save my time and effort? You know what? Just pay someone to do it, dude. But yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. Gonna end it off right here. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys want more videos like this in the future, just let me know. We could do something. I could teach you guys how to do like even better stuff. You know, this is as basic as it gets, you know. This is a full overlay. I could probably teach you guys how to do like specific overlays for, like, you know, if you play Fortnite, Overwatch, things like that, League of Legends. Just let me know.